Well, good evening, folks. Welcome back to Good Things for Good People, the little tiny YouTube channel. Great big dreams, changing the world for good. Today is Thursday, and it is actually a gorgeous Thursday here in Central Ohio. Um, can't really show you this because I'm filming on my laptop instead of on my phone, but you can kind of see it's right around sun going down time. And I've had a pretty good day. It's been busy, but I've had a pretty good day. I got a chance to go out and about for lunch today. Went to BW3's, took care of my waitress, who was frazzle brained all over the place because she was getting swamped. But that's the easy win. I brought that up in a short. Hopefully you saw it. If you didn't, that's okay. I just told you about it. But today actually was kind of a nice day for me to just kind of chill and recover. And this evening, actually, I have a nice thing and a good thing for both myself and for Katrina that is being done for us. Our lovely neighbors actually invited us to go over to their place for a kind of Christmas get together kind of thing. There's going to be a Christmas reading, a white elephant get thing, and then apparently everybody's bringing Italian food, which is going to be right up my alley because I'm a huge Italian food kind of guy. Um, I will not be doing any of the cooking because I do not cook. There are many skills that I have in this world. Cooking and things in the kitchen, not me. I can screw up microwave macaroni and cheese. I promise you I've done it. Um, but it's a nice thing. Um, the nice thing about where I live and the community I'm in is uh, my neighbors are actually wonderfully nice people. We have they are uh, yeah, they're wonderfully nice people. Let's just put it that way. A lot of times when I in other places I have lived, even in the greater Columbus area, I have not been as fortunate. A lot of times when you're living in an urban environment anymore, where I live, by the way, in case you didn't know that, I live in a very urban environment. A lot of times when you live this way, you don't typically tend to know your neighbors much, or you don't typically tend to talk to your neighbors much. That's one of the things that a lot of folks will lament with the way that culture is going as more and more of us are moving away from the rural country small town kind of life and moving into the cities is the loss of sense of community, and I can 100% agree with that. I have lived in the greater Columbus area for 20 years now, almost all of that in pretty urban environment, and with very little exception I didn't ever really talk to my neighbors, even if I lived there next to them for 3 or 4 years, or 5 or 6 years. Whether it was apartment living, or whether it was a townhouse, or whether it was a house, or where I am now in this house. Um, for the vast majority of that time, you no longer talk to your neighbors. You may not even know who they are. You may know that person and that person to the left of you and to the right of you, but you probably don't know the people across the street. You probably don't know the next door down. And it's kind of a shame. I want to set up a conversation with some people that you guys know pretty well, um, and actually bring up this whole conversation about the the change that we have all seen in American society as we urbanize, and a lot of that becomes, you know, kind of a lost past kind of thing. As kids these days are growing up and they're not getting that same exposure. And kind of to harken back to what I was talking about last night with yesterday's video was the onlineization of our culture and the fact that that's really where we're getting our connections now. That's where we're getting our socialization time, is through video games or through online communities or um, social media in general. Uh, as we get more and more that direction, we're losing a lot of the personal connections that we used to have. I grew up in small town America, just FYI. I grew up in a small town when I was in elementary school. Then I grew up in an even smaller town when I was in middle school, and then I became a city slicker after that. But when I was young, when I was in elementary school and I was in middle school, I knew the neighbors. I knew every single person that lived on my street. I hung out with and I played with their kids. And maybe some of that's different because I don't have kids now. Maybe that's a little bit different for those of you who have kids or grandkids. If it is, let me know. I'm actually kind of curious about that. But as far as I can tell, It's changed a lot just in my lifetime. And it's kind of a sad thing because you lose that sense of community and you get a little bit more introverted. Even for those of us who are naturally pretty extroverted, outgoing folk who can, generally talk to just about anybody about just about anything. It's it's sad because you end up having situations where people just they don't have social communication anymore. They don't have social skills. They don't know how to deal with people face to face. They don't know how to make eye contact and shake hands and yes sir and yes ma'am and um, don't take this as I'm poo-pooing on the younger generation. It's not all their fault, and it's not all the younger generation. There's a lot of people in my generation who have turned into pretty generally crappy people, um, and a large portion of that is I would put at the feet of the fact that our our culture has gotten away from personalized face-to-face conversation, even to the point of you know when you go out shopping anymore. You used to have a checkout attendant everywhere you went, anywhere you were doing a transaction anywhere you were doing a transaction, you had somebody that would check you out at a register or wherever. That's how business was done. Whether it was grocery shopping, whether it was toy shopping, whether it was at the gas station, whether it was at the lumber yard, wherever it was, hardware store, you had somebody that checked you out. Shopping at the mall, you had somebody that checked you out. That was the process. You had a personalized conversation there. Now, it might have been just real quick, but it at least made you engage with somebody face to face. Especially as over the last bunch of years, we have gone to the ability to work remote. I think that's actually become even more of a problem because now you are at the point where you literally don't even have to see other people to exist, to live your life. You can stay home. You can work from home. You can have your groceries delivered to your house. You can have your, car serviced if you decided you want to have your car serviced that way. You can have anything dropped off Amazon wise. You can buy anything you could possibly want. It'll come via Amazon or UPS or FedEx. If it's from FedEx, it'll probably be late, or UPS, it might not ever arrive. But, we don't necessarily need to go out and about anymore, and we're losing that ability to really connect with other humans. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds with this and get too sounding like an old man, but it is kind of sad because I don't see how we fix that trend. I don't see how we go back the other direction. You know, I come from a small town, and something we saw a long, long time ago was when Walmart first came to my town. Before that, we had several different little mom and pop grocery stores. We had mom and pop hardware stores and toy stores and bookstores, and it was a small town of 30,000 people maybe. Which is not like a super small town, but it was a small town, county seat. And we had a college, we had the courthouse and stuff, but it was still a small town life. It was still small town. But when Walmart came to town, it pretty well changed all of that. You had mom and pop shops that couldn't compete on price. You had mom and pop shops that couldn't compete on selection because they didn't have the buying power that Walmart had. Walmart is stocking a gigantic store and they're buying in enormous bulk. So they could do things that small mom and pops couldn't do. Not that they didn't want to do it, they just physically couldn't do it. And then you saw those businesses go out of business. You saw those small businesses closing down. And those people lost their livelihoods. Now the business owners were probably mostly okay. They could sell their business off or whatever, and maybe hopefully they made enough money before that transition happened. But um, the people who work for them had to go find something else to do. So you end up with a bunch of people that work at Walmart that are not making a very good wage, or they're stuck in the whole process of I don't want to pay you full time and I don't want you to get benefits and blah 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 blah. Um, I'm sure any of you know the process that's all been through, but progressively at that point in time, all kinds of other businesses started to fall apart. It was the grocery stores, and then the other small ancillary stores. You had stores that went out of business because Lowe's came to town right after Walmart did. So all of your small businesses that had to deal with hardware or blue collar work type stuff, construction world, any of that kind of thing, your lumber yard that went out of business. We had a 84 lumber in town that went out of business, um, purely because it can't compete on a economy of scale with those large companies. And I think that's kind of right, right in that same period where things started to kind of fall apart. We started to lose a lot of that uh, romanticization time of, back in my day kind of stuff. And it's true, actually. Back in my day, we had that. I could go to a little mom and pop grocery store, and that's where I would get that's where we would get our groceries. I wouldn't get our groceries, but that's where we would get our groceries. You would have same thing with restaurants. You'd have lots of little tiny restaurants that were, the restaurant that was owned by the family, whatever. And I still go to those places every time I'm back home. Every time I'm back home, I always try to eat at one of those places that I still remember that's still around because, they've weathered the storm. They're still there. Unfortunately, it's almost all older folk that are eating there now. It's not younger people that are eating at those establishments anymore. And we have, taken over the whole chain restaurant thing, your Applebee's and your Red Lobsters, um, and all that kind of stuff, and plus all your, fat kid fast food stuff. Um, but we've lost a lot of that, and it's really quite sad. Anyway, I didn't want to spend that entire time, but these are all unscripted, FYI. Just in case you didn't know that by now, this is all unscripted. This is all just me talking, um, and trying to engage with you guys and trying to kind of develop a community here. For those of you who have never been here before, I apologize. It's already almost 12 minutes into this video. Welcome to Good Things for Good People. We are trying to build a community of like-minded people who are looking to do anything and everything we can to better our world, specifically our country and our communities. We are trying to develop an online community of like minded folk who want to be positive, who want to cheer each other on, who want to do good deeds, who are interested in charity and philanthropy and lifting each other up. That's the whole point of this game. That's the whole point of this channel. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to use the built-in metrics and the built-in capabilities of YouTube, where content is created by essentially by me, and then we publish that content. You watch that content, and through that process of watching ads and spending time on the video, it generates revenue. Right? So the revenue that we're generating is going to be actually able to be used as the donations that we're going to be able to use for doing good things for good people. Now, whether that's buying food for food pantries or groceries or gasoline or helping somebody pay a bill or whatever. The whole idea here is we're building a community um, that we all can kind of agree needs to be built, right? We all can agree that right now is not the greatest time in this country. And it's unfortunate, but there's not a lot of ways that we can fix this other than if we start working on fixing it. You and me, we need to work on this because the government isn't going to fix it. Businesses aren't going to fix it. It needs to be a grassroots thing. It needs to be a community thing where we make this difference happen. Um, and that's what this page is all about. We're just generally speaking, we're trying to bring people together and develop a community that wants to see the world become a better place. We want to be able to use all of the tools of social media um, to better humanity and to better our country versus to tear each other down, and to expose weaknesses and all of the terrible stuff that happens on social media. We are going to use all of that same capability, but we're going to flip it on its head and we're going to use it for good. I've got something I'm going to be working on for tomorrow. A good buddy of mine sent me some stuff that he filmed actually for me, and I think that's going to be kind of one of the things that I would really like to see happening with this channel is let's make this less about me and what I'm able to do, and let's also highlight what other you people can do, what you folks can do, what other people who believe in this message can do, and set up a place or a way for you to submit your own personal good deeds that you do, your own good, personal good things that you do. And I want to to, to reiterate this. I mentioned this in a previous video. The purpose of this is not for patting myself on the back. The purpose of this is not to make yourself look like a great person. The purpose of this is not for brand management. Okay? That's not what this is about. What this is about is us trying to model good behavior. Okay. This is about showing that we're leading from the front. We're not just sitting back in the back of a boardroom saying, you should do this and you should do that. And you could fix the world if you did this. And oh, that would be a great idea. You should do this. I want it to be us. I want it to be us that's doing it. I want it to be us who's bringing people along. And I think that a lot of people share that same mentality. Now, some people are not going to be able to do that, and I totally get it. If you're not in an area, or you're not physically capable of, or if you're not monetarily capable of doing such those things, I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're supporting the channel. But I would like to ask those of you who are out there that might be interested in this. Is it something that you guys could do? Is it something where you would feel comfortable filming a little bit about what you're doing or where you're doing some good deeds? Whether it's volunteering somewhere or helping out with a project somewhere for somebody or whatever. It doesn't have to be huge things. It can be small things. As we're a small channel, the small victories are the ones that are easily within our grasp. There are lots of little things that we can all do on a daily basis. Um, and it doesn't have to be anything more than just something simple. But I think the more that we see that and the more that we cheer each other on and support each other and hope that that rubs off on the greater community around us, um, I think the better. So anyway, I'm going to work on that for tomorrow. That's going to be the Friday video. I'm going to incorporate all of that. Um, the I'm also going to go over the analytics for the last couple of days tomorrow. I don't really want to go over it tonight because I got to get ready to go to dinner, which is super nice. By the way, thank you very much, neighbors, for inviting Katrina and I over for that. I'm also going to get cranking on the videos for the Santa Reads stuff for this weekend. I'm going to try to get those up for Friday, Saturday, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday over the weekend. Mrs. Claus and I did some readings, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy those. Those should be interesting. I'm also going to get back onto the Hey Santa clips thing. So if you happen to be somebody who is waiting on a Hey Santa clips, I will be filming those this weekend when I'm in full Santa garb. Excuse me. I try not to do that too terribly often because it tends to fry my hair and my beard. Um, so I gotta be a little bit careful about that. But this weekend I will be in full garb and I will be filming a bunch of those things. If you are interested in your own custom Santa thing, Merry Christmas or anything it is you'd like me to say, as long as it's PG, to whomever it is you want me to address it to, shoot me an email. HeySantaClips@gmail.com and let me know who it is you want me to talk to. Give me a general idea as far as a script, what you want me to bring up, and I'm happy to do that. Maybe 30 seconds or so, and I'll film that to you and I'll send it to you free of charge, just as something that's a nice thing, because that's what it's all about, doing nice things, not for the reciprocation. I'm not doing these things for, well, I mean, I guess I'd like you to subscribe. I'd like you to support the channel, but I'm not doing it for any personal, I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm not looking for donations. I'm not looking for any of that stuff. All I'm looking to do is to encourage the community and help us grow. We are a new channel. We are less than 60 days in, and we are already at 564 subscribers, which is great. You know, in the grand scheme of things, most YouTube channels take a really long time to get anywhere near where we are, and we're doing it much faster than everybody else is. I know I also have to be very honest here that some of the content that I've been creating in the last couple of days has not been very engaging. And I gotta take that to heart and I gotta change that up. And I realize that we're 56 episodes in and it may not be all that interesting for you to sit here and listen to Austin talk to you for 15 or 20 minutes every day. I get that. I do. I've also got to be honest with you, the fact that I've got to be very careful with the fact that I don't want to overspend my ability or overextend myself with a project that still is absolutely not making any money. I'm about $700 into this thing as far as out of my own pocket, and we aren't anywhere near monetization yet. Current trending, we're looking at probably 2 more months of monetization, and so unless something goes crazy, and even when we do get monetized, that first month is probably going to be $50, $60 maybe, $100 if we're super lucky. And I personally do more than that out of my own pocket every single month. So I've got to be a little bit careful to not upside down myself financially to do the things that I'm trying to do, while also modeling the behaviors that I want to model. I hope that makes sense to you. So I do realize that some of these are maybe not necessarily what you're looking for. Also, with my work-life balance, it is tricky. Trying to find the time, and I'm sure you all understand this, trying to find the time to do things outside of my work day uh, for other people is tricky. It is. Plus, I got to spend the time to film this. Plus, I got to be able to edit it and upload it, and it's tricky. It is. It is tough. But I'm going to do my best. I'm not giving up on this project. I think it's got great potential. I think a lot of people agree with this that they would love to see, you would love to see this whole thing going in a long-term thing and being successful and maybe changing the world for good. I truly believe in this thing. I think it's a got incredible potential, and I'm glad that there's other folks out there like you who believe the same way. So if you made it this far, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I do apologize. I'm shooting this in kind of a low light situation with kind of a crappy camera, but I'm trying out something new as far as the actual camera on my laptop. Whether or not that's going to work, looks like it's kind of crap. I guess we'll see how this video turns out once I edit it and render it, and hopefully the audio turns out okay. But let me know. If this is terrible, I won't do it again. I'm trying all the options here. That's the neat thing with a new YouTube channel is you can really try everything. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, oh well, chalk that up and move on. Try it and break things. Move fast and break things, I think is the phrase. You never know what's going to work, so try everything. And you know, we're going to grow this community. We got to figure out our niche. We got to figure out our exact thing that's going to really grow the channel and push the growth. But until that we figure that out, we're just going to keep trying stuff. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of your evening. I will see you tomorrow, and take care of each other. We'll see you. Bye bye.